What's up, you guys? Marty Schwartz here from GuitarJamz.com. Going to bring you a tasty soloing style lesson. Also, I have some classic licks that are right in this style, Clapton style, Hendrix style, Stevie Ray Vaughan style, like a DVD quality. Free licks in that link down there, so check that out. I appreciate that support. But let's zoom in. Got a lot to show you, but some really great stuff in here, so hope you dig it. Here we go. All right, so first I'm going to show you the chords to this guitar solo. And it starts on an F major chord, F, then down to E flat. You know, these are chords in the song. So F, E flat, B flat, and then a whole step down to A flat. So F, E flat, B flat, A flat, and it does it. So it does that 3 times. But here's some little Hendrix isms that you can add. You can start with that F chord, but then when you go down to the E flat, you can play that Hendrix major chord inversion. So your finger would be barred across the 8th fret, and then you're hammering on that 10th fret on the A string. So you got it. And so then there's this little tag. It's a good bass line kind of little riff, and it starts on the 10th fret of the E string, and then the 8th fret of the A string, back, you know, boo-da-da, boo-da. But what makes it a little tastier is sliding into that 10th of the E string. Okay, now goes a half step down, G, 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 B flat, D flat, F, back to the verse, okay? So that other thing it does is G, F2, 3, 4, F2, 3, 4, F2, 3, 4, F2, 3, 4, verse. Okay, so that's what's going on. Now we're going to do all the licks, and the solo really follows the chord progression. So there's going to be some really cool things I think you can learn if you understand the concept behind some of these licks, okay? So here we go. So the beginning of the solo is in the F vibe. You know, the first chord is that F, right? If you look at the F bar chord up here, you know, where that root is, right here on the 13th fret, you know, you can see this little vibe that he uses for a few different chords in the solo that I showed you earlier. Here's the first lick, like that. And he kind of slides it back. So you're kind of in that F zone, and you're covering the 13th fret of the B and the high E, and then you hammer down now on the a whole step up on the B string, and but you're strumming the B and the high E like this. And then you slide it back. Like that. So when you have an F chord, you can do that. When you have a G chord, or a B flat, you know, it's going to work over any chord that you're playing it over. Okay, so the first one's F. You hammer it once and let it stick there and slide it back. Then you got this. You're going to want to put your middle finger on the 13th fret of the B string, but still look at that F concept because he's going to do this as well over different chords. So you've got so I'm kind of playing this as like a chord, a double stop with the 13 on the B string and my index on the 12th of the G. That's like the little shape I'm thinking of. Then, while I'm holding that, I hammer down off and on the 14th fret of the G string with my ring finger. Okay, so check it out. So we do off, on, off, and then pinky. I'm reaching for my pinky on the 15th of the D string. And I'm still holding that form, but when I get to that note, I'm just hitting it by itself. But these are still ringing out. You hear that? Then you just go back. And this whole little lick of, that's a theme through the solo, so you're going to see it over different chords as we come up. So we hammer this on, slide it back, get into that two-finger shape, off, on, off, pinky. So then the next thing, it's just a variation, a hammer-on pull-off on that 14 of the G. So pinky again. So then I'm sliding from 15 to 17 on the A string. So that's the 15 and 17 little box here. Ooh, 15 on the D, up to the 17 on the D. Here is that first whole lick. So that's a little thing. And it kind of releases back to the 15 on the D, but it's not picked. It's like, you know, you kind of hear the finger come off. Good news, the next phrase is a variation of the same thing. Okay, so it starts the same. And it goes all the way up to there doing the same thing. But then instead of, it doesn't do that at all. It goes right back into this zone. So here's that second phrase. Oh, sorry, hammer it. So this time it's where it's now the index on the 15 of the D. then this phrase. So then a hammer on from 15 to 17 on the D, and then the same thing on the A string. You know, try and get some vibrato. You know. Okay, from the top of the solo. Good news, the next one is almost the same. So it does everything the same except on this part up here. That's the phrase. So you're sliding from 15 to 17 on the A, 15 to 17 on the D, immediately back to 15 hammered on up to the 17. All right, from the top so far. Okay, we're now at the G chord. And this is really cool because we're going to use the same concepts, but now over where a G chord would be, which is, you know, all the way up to the 15th fret of the high E is a G note. So we're going to go, and that's over the G chord now. So instead of an F chord, now we're over a G chord. And we're going to do it 2 hammer-ons. So we don't hear it come off. We do hammer-ups. Like that. Then we get into that next position that we were doing for F, but now my middle finger is on the 15 of the B, index is on the 14 of the G. So you got same move. But then now we're going to hammer on twice, just like we did here. We're hammering up to the 16 on the G with our ring finger. Like that, 2 of them. So when you put it together, it sounds like this. You know, pinky's making it all the way to the 17 of the D right there. So that's for that G chord. So the next move that's pretty cool is something he's used in like Little Wing, for instance. It's that B flat. He's going to play it with his thumb on the root, which is the 6th fret, and then that F looking shape. But he goes to that chord, and he's adding his pinky to the B string right there, which would be the 8th fret while you're holding the chord. Then you're getting your pinky to that sus4, which is on the G string. And that'd be the 8th fret of the G string added to the chord. Oh. Okay, from the top, let's see if I can remember it. G, B flat. Okay, now we just need a classic Hendrix blues lick right here. He's moved up another minor third distance, which is that kind of distance. That's a minor third. This up to that is a minor third. And this is a blues lick in D flat. So we're bending from the 12th fret up a whole step. And we're not going a straight bend, we're not going, we're hearing this note first. Then back down. And releasing, and we have to reach back right there to the 9th fret of the B, because we're in this minor pentatonic. So we're never hearing that note. When you see my finger there, it's just because I'm bending with all 3 fingers right there. And then you're hearing that note, and then before you can hear anything in between, I'm reaching back to go to there. Another classic blues thing. So I'm bending this G string up from the 11th fret. Then my index is planted on the B and high E on that 9th fret. So after I hit that high E, I skip back over to the G, and I immediately bend it up, and then release to my index finger with some vibrato. Let's check it out. From the G chord. All right, so the last chord, we're back at F. So what do? We go to that F zone. Which that reminds me of Don't Let Me Down by the Beatles, that part. But so we just do the same thing. But this time, we're hammer up and then release. We're just playing that B and high E. Get back into that familiar 2-finger thing. They're all variations of the same concept. This time we're going da be da boo da be da. 12, 14, 12, pinky, 12, 14, 12. The only difference is we have that there with it. And then we have a little Beatles-y kind of thing right there. You don't have to hold this down anymore for it. $15 on the A, 12 on the D. 15 on the D, back down, 13 on the A, 12. Okay. E flat, D flat, back to F. Alright, hope you got something from that. Remember, I got those free licks in that link down there. Thanks for hanging out, and hope to see you real soon out there. Take care.